So if you want to do your labs from on Colab, the first suggestion is don't create the files directly on Colab because it will get deleted. The Colab is a transient instance. In 24 hours or less, it disappears. So what you have to do is, there are two ways of doing it. One is by taking it, putting your code on Google Drive. The other is with GitHub. GitHub is GitHub or some Git repository is always preferred to manage versions of your code. It does versioning much better. In Google Drive also, there's some notion of versioning, but it's much richer when you do it in a proper version control system like GitHub. But today we'll start with simple Google Drive. So what you do is you go and input your code in Google Drive. Right? So to illustrate that, let me illustrate that with an example on my desktop. So there is one bit of code, there's only one bit of code extra that you need in all your notebooks. I just note it down. Take this code and write it down. Let me know when you guys have copied this code. Have you? Okay. It's 2 lines of code. I hope you have copied it. So what we will do is, let me just go and see my Google Drive, and maybe I'll use that to illustrate what just happened. Is my desktop still shared, guys?
No.
It's not, huh? Okay. So there is a way for me to move this entire panel, Zoom panel to the bottom. Let me see if I can. Share computer live, disable hide names of annotations. Is there a screen sharing? And share computer sound, advanced, versions of a screen, files, okay. I can't make it out. Control.
Sir, are you recording this part?
Come again?
Are you recording this part?
Yes, yes, it is being recorded. Huh? So guys, what I'll do is now I'll go to my drive, change over to support vectors. So when I go here, let me look at this. I have ML400 here. This is what I put there for you guys. Let me go into deep learning workshop and go into something. I'll go into text. No, not text. Go into, no, sorry, notebooks. Here we go. We are inside our notebooks. Let me take some very basic thing. For example, I'll go into NLP libraries. One of them is readability, right here. Let me see what happens. If I double click on it, see, it is asking you, try to open it up with Colab. Do you see this, guys? So Harini, try that and see if it happens for you. We have this Google Colab. Are you seeing it on my screen, guys? Is my screen visible? One
Yes.
of you.
Yes.
So all you have to do is click on this. When you do that, this thing has gotten open, as you can see, from here. Now, here, you know, I'm adding something to the path, readability, etc. More than that, what I have to do is I have to add a code above right here. This is the bit of code that I talked about, which you should include. So copy this code, google.colab, import drive. I will have to add it to the top of my system. When I add it, see what happens when I run this code. Huh? I run this code. It will ask you, it will say, go to this link. When I go to this link, It will ask me to log in, allow. Then it will ask me to copy this, this whole thing. Copy it, and then come back here and enter it in this location. This is the tricky stuff. Oh, sorry, it didn't copy it properly. Copy. I'll bring it here into this box. I enter this secret key that it has generated for me. I hit enter. And when I hit enter, so what has happened is it has mounted something to the Google Drive. Let's go and see what it is. If I go to the file, if I go to the drives, you'll see my drive. Under my drive, you'll find that your entire Google Drive is now here. ML400 is here. And under that is deep learning. So what I need to do is this path is now with relationship to not GitHub on my machine, on my local machine, it was that. I will now change it to that value. So I'll just comment it out from my local value to sys.path.append. What is it now? Content.
Can you increase the font, please?
Oh, yes. Sorry. I apologize. So what I'm doing is what used to be true for my local machine, the library. Now I have to give it relative to this. So what is the relative? Drive. After drive comes my drive. After my drive comes ML400. 400 comes deep learning. This is where the SVLearn, this particular library is sitting. So I will run this. Oops, it didn't quite like it. What just happened? Content drive from SVLearn import read. No module named. Okay, so I have to install some of these modules. So that is okay, because remember you have the requirements.txt. So what you can do right after this is, and it would help for once, do a pip install -r, install -r, and what is it that we would do? We would do pip install -r requirement.txt. Let's try a luck now. Could not open requirements. Okay, we have to give it the absolute path to this requirements.txt. Content.
Right click on requirements, it will give you the path.
Yeah, if you right click on the requirement, that's a good point.
Yeah. Copy path.
Copy path, yes, thank you. So I don't have to pay. There you go. So if you do that, all the necessary libraries should get installed. And then our library, this appends our library SVLearn to the path. This is a one-time. When you start your this thing, Colab, you should do this for that instance.
Every time I want to, like today I do some work, get out of it, again I have to do all this?
Yes, unfortunately. So what you should do is you should copy paste this bit somewhere. So you have to see this much, no? You should copy paste somewhere. These are just 3 lines. You just copy paste it somewhere so that you do it anytime you start Colab from scratch. Right? The reason for that is a Colab versions disappear, no?
Yeah.
So
you were saying about Git. Can't we save up till here and continue?
Yes. So let's keep it for next time.
Okay.
Not all in a day. All right. So now you are in good shape. So you can go about doing, but again, you have to change this path here. You see this, right? You go to the Lincoln Gettysbury address. So you can copy the path again And in fact, I learned something from you, copy path. I used to just manually type it in Colab. See, what happens in reality is Colab is a great place to start. It's free. Pay the $10, you get a faster version. It's a great place to start. But after a little while, you want your own instance and more powerful instance to run your thing. So this is it, and this ran, and then, you know.
Asif, what about the Anaconda instance? Can I just run it there?
Can you run it? Yes, of course, you can run it in a local instance. You should actually.
No, what I said was I couldn't install the regular Anaconda on my laptop. It just kind of failed. So you don't
need to install it. A Colab comes with that. Colab comes with Python and Anaconda and all that pre-installed.
Okay. I see even in the Anaconda cloud, you have all the, you have the Jupyter notebook, the Spider notebook. So I can do everything on that cloud itself, right? I don't have to worry about Colab.
You don't have to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My Drive ML Deep Learning Workshop. So let's see what is going wrong now. So these are little things. You'll get some little aspects that will not work for a while. Readability. Let's see what I can do to make this work. Oops. It's complaining. Oh, TextStat has no attribute. Okay, so this is something we knew that there is a problem. We will go back to our, remember those 4 lines that I asked you to comment out? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just need to go back and comment those 4 lines out. Where it is. What you do is you go to your SVLearn, NLP, the readability. This was the only correction I had asked you to do. So if you double click on it, it is a zip extractor, but there is a way to text suggested third party. You can do a text editor. Welcome to the authorized text editor. So you can go and these 4 lines, comment it out. So you don't need this because that needs a future version of the library. This is true only for this particular class. So we have to do save to drive. Once you saved it to drive, now you can go back to your notebook, which is here, and try a luck again. Has no attribute. We'll have to reload the whole thing. We'll have to remount it, unfortunately. Google Colab already mounted it. Call force remount true.
So Asif, while we're doing that, one quick thing on the content drive is a standard keyword, right?
Oh yes, they always give you that content. See, what is happening is, Premjit, they're giving you a mini Ubuntu instance. And they will always mount whatever you give a Google Drive in your /content/drive. They recommend that you should mount things there.
Okay. And from there would be whatever we named it in terms of folders.
Yes, that is it, yeah. Okay, for some reason in my case, it is not picking up that. So let's go run some, why is it not picking up? Maybe we can edit it right here. SVLearn, NLP, readability. Yeah, right here. So you have it here, we'll comment it out. Oh, here it is commented out. So what I need to do is from SVLearn, it is not picking up the library. All right, so we will do this runtime restart. So these are little things you have to do. See, with Colab, right, it all works. You have to get used to it, number one. And secondly, like all things, like, it's free, sorry. It's free, but then it comes with certain limitations. But it's very convenient because it's much more powerful than your own machine.
I think I'm having similar issues with the the svlearn.transfer svlearn sublibraries being read
You're having some
on my
problem.
laptop.
Okay, I'll help you with that in a moment. Okay, 1 second. There you go. Finally, it seems that the stars in the sky are aligned now. It is downloading some BERT in other models. There you go. See, it worked, right? And likewise, you can go and play the same game with other things. For example, okay, we don't need this. We can go up this library, go back to deep learning. And this is a nuisance. You have to navigate it from here. At this moment, this Colab has a few limitations. Let's go to pre-trained. We have the ImageNet. Again, open it in Colab. Right. And let's try running the libraries here. First of all, the system path, hopefully we have already taken care of because we have an instance running. We don't need to do that. Or maybe we do. We'll find out. No module name svlearn. So what do we learn? We need to go back to our readability and copy the things from here, from svlearn. So now what happens is that it becomes boilerplate after a little while. You take it, you go to ImageNet. Here, you'll introduce that. Edit, select, cut, paste, deselect, split. There's no split here. Okay, we will run this. And the second line that was there was mount this, sorry, these two. These two things, and you'll bring it back up here. You don't need these things, but for what it is worth, I'm adding it here anyway, right? So you try to run this. Once again, it will take you through the same process. You'll have to copy
There's
those.
an easier way to do it. Like you could directly use the, when we go left side in Colab, it says drive mount, and then this link comes up, and then you just copy and paste it.
Oh, it does, huh? Okay, it used to not be there. They must have just added that feature. Very nice. Now you don't need that, huh? No, that is very good. If that's true, that's very good. Name sys, okay, import sys. I am using sys, but I think I forgot to import sys. Copy one line and bring it here. There it is. So obviously now I'm doing image lift. So it is bringing in a big model, huge models into this. And one advantage is because you're doing it in the cloud, downloading models is very fast. You notice how fast it went, 45 Mbps and so forth. You won't get that kind of speed locally. Now we go to the next one. There we go. Then
Can you quickly show the top modifications that you made to the notebook so I can note that?
these are the four. Line 3 to line 8.
Awesome.
3 to 8. Actually, why don't I put it on Slack so all of you have it? Should I put it on Slack?
Absolutely.
There you go. So see, here's the thing, guys. Colab is great. Good thing with it is speed. these are pretty powerful, or rather speedy machines. They get GPU support. It will usually be better than if you have an old laptop. I would suggest that go and purchase for yourself the Pro version. You see Colab Pro? So I have the subscription to it. Things run faster with Colab Pro. There's some configurability to it. Some things are configurable. And you can even choose if you're used to VI or some other binding, you can use that keyboard binding. You can change the theme from light to dark to adaptive and so forth. So for example, if you do a dark theme, this is what it will become. So a little bit of a configurability is there. It's not a full IDE, but still pretty useful. And so here we go.
Asif, just a quick question. At what point in this workshop do we have to switch to GCP? I mean, like, is there value in moving to GCP right now?
I would suggest so, because see, get familiar, Colab with, see, it's a little bit, you have to add these extra lines in Colab and this and that. Colab is a great experimental workbench, right? Google wants you to create new notebooks there. But the moment you do a complicated project, do you see that you have to include it in the path and you have to do this mount drive and so forth? So
Yeah.
it's a nuisance, but you should get used to it, because Google GCP, most of the time when you go and get a job nowadays, right? The companies will expect you to work in the cloud.
Okay.
Because these hardwares are very expensive. You know, the machine that you saw on my desktop in my office, that white elephant, it costs north of $10,000. It's more like $14,000 machine, right? So, and that is just for one person doing development. But by the time you get a fully configured machine, it can, in fact, the machine that I just ordered, it's very expensive, $27,000. So most companies don't want to give those expensive machines to every developer, AI developer and so forth. So they tend to ask you to work in the cloud. Then when the cloud gets expensive, they buy machines.
Okay.
So use the cloud quite a bit. You'll get used to this. The other option is, see, I today introduced Colab, right? There is a way to get out of all of these annoyances, which is to have your own Jupyter notebook in cloud. Now, there is a cost associated with it. I will, maybe next weekend, next Saturday, we'll go through that process.
You're talking about Jupyter Notebook in GCP?
Sorry, let me just finish that. You have to be a little bit careful in GCP when you create your notebooks there, because you can rake up a big bill. You're creating an instance. The more powerful the instance you take, the more expensive it is per hour. So usually if you're careful and if you learn to shut down the machine, then it is fine. The whole month you'll rake up a bill of like $15. But if you go to sleep with the machine running, next morning you'll wake up with a $50 bill. Right? So that's the risk. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying something.
So that 1 hour you're talking about is the, like the execution time, right? Not the time you spent editing the code, right?
Unfortunately, with a Jupyter notebook, that is what it becomes.
Oh, okay. So
because the instance is running there and you're doing it. See, it's a convenience thing. So what people do, I'll tell you what I do sometimes. Right? In my team, I recommend people have one Jupyter notebook instance, or the whole compute engine instance, which is really low powered, where the cost is in pennies per hour, right? So the whole month you'll rake up like a $10 bill. Then have another instance which you keep shut down most of the time, which is high powered.
Okay.
And which you fire up only to do executions.
Okay, I understand.
That's how you do it.
So this, I mean, like, what is the Jupyter notebook you were talking about? Is it the notebook that you open in the GCP, or like that's separate?
I mean the GCP notebook. In the GCP, if you fire up a Jupyter notebook, what it does is you'll be forced to create a compute engine, a VM basically. Because it's your VM instance, now it has your data. You don't have to go to get anywhere. It is like a regular machine. You do git checkout, and your code remains, and you fire up, you write your Jupyter notebook. It is basically like a laptop in the cloud. It has all the functionality. So you don't have to do this sort of things we are having to do with Colab. Right.
Okay.
But the danger is, see, what happens is soon we want our computations to run fast. So we all will go and allocate big. Everybody has made this mistake. In fact, you guaranteed you'll make this mistake. One day you will go and take a lot of GPUs and the cost will be $12 an hour. And you'll promise yourself that in 20 minutes, I'll shut it down because they charge you by the minute.
Yeah.
So you think you'll rake up a bill of $3, but then your family calls you for dinner, you walk out, some friend calls, and then you
Yeah.
go to sleep, and next morning you wake up, 10
Yeah.
hours have gone by and you have raked up $120.
Yeah. Understand.
So that is why I'm saying that first, Colab with all its limitations, still a good place to start.
Okay.
Just get the pro version, in the settings, go and get the pro version. Once you guys become familiar with Colab, right, then maybe next week I'll introduce you to you're creating your own compute instance and so forth, because I don't want you guys to start hating me right away after getting a big bill. So that's
Asif,
Thanks.
before we close, can you show that navigation on the left hand when you did the going through the directory in Colab?
yeah, here it is. So what will happen is under drive, my drive is unavoidable. Then your entire Google Drive will start showing up on the left. Right. And
Okay.
then,
Okay. I think something unique is happening on my end. I need to figure that out. Okay.
you can share your screen. Maybe after everybody is gone, you can share your screen. I can help you with that. And as you notice that if you take Colab Pro, things do run pretty fast. They are running pretty fast here. You'll see. Or as fast as it can. It will never be comparable to seeing the experience on a powerful workstation. But then see, powerful workstations cost like $25,000 whereas Colab costs $10 a month. Huge difference. So now let's see. Yeah, it's running pretty fast. And the results. So Harini, now are you up to speed? Are you able to do it? Harini?
Sir, I'm able to mount, but the ML400 folder is not showing up on the drive. I just copied it onto the Google Drive, but it's not showing. So I'm trying to, remount it and check why it's doing it.
You have to remount it. You have to say remount. Force mount is equal to true.
Okay, I'll just try that and get back to you.
All right, guys. So that ends today's session on this topic. What is the next help you guys want? Anybody needs any help? Premjit, I think you need some one-on-one help. Would you like to share your screen? I can help you.
No, that's one second, Asif. I think I might be in the same situation as Harini. I probably just need to do a force remount.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try that first.
Yeah. So are you guys finding all this, how are you liking this course so far, guys? I'll send out a survey, by the way, tonight. Is it moving at the right pace or is it moving too fast? Any feedback?
Somebody needs to.
Hello?
Well, I think some people, it would help to quickly go through all the directory structure. I'm doing that to catch up with all the files that we suddenly have for the first homework.
Yes, okay, let me walk you guys through. So let me do it from my local machine because it is just easier, quicker to navigate here.
So sorry, but before that, I tried to remount, but then again, I can't find the ML400.
Let's do one thing. Why don't you share your screen? I'll help you solve that. By the way, was this Python session useful? Was it helpful? Or too elementary? Is there any one person who benefited from it?
Asif, I'd say
It was benefited.
You did, huh?
yeah, it's helpful, but I think we can go faster.
We can go faster. Okay, good. I can go faster. Actually, now that I think about it, we don't have anybody in the audience from social sciences. Usually they have difficulty understanding what variable is, what those are. Here, everybody has some programming background, isn't it? Harini, you had some programming background? All right, you're sharing your screen. Can you go up, please? Now, where is your mounted drive? Click on that. I can't hear you, Harini, in case you're saying something. I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay. So I use the mount option here directly, so I don't have to write code.
Okay, and
Okay.
then go to your where is the code? Where is the ML400?
This is what the library is here, but the drive, but the ML400 is not here.
No, you need to upload it. No, you need to first upload it to your.
It's in the drive already.
Show it to me that it is there.
Yeah, 1 second.
Just go to drive.google.com. Yes. I don't see it here.
Yeah, no, 1 second. Probably I'm doing it into a different drive.
Yes, you probably put it in some other account. You may have multiple GCP
accounts. Yeah. Okay, let me try again.
Yes. All right. Premjit, would you like to share your screen? I can help you then if you are having a issue. All right. In the meanwhile, I'll walk you guys through the. Let me become the screen sharer for a moment and get you guys through. So guys, when you look at this, there is a deep learning package, a deep learning directory. It contains some basic things. Requirements.txt is meant for installing the software that is needed. You now know why we need it, right? You do pip install -r, this thing. The hardware consideration was my notes on what hardware to buy or GCP and so forth. So this is easy. How to author markdown tips. By the way, this is how Typhoon, I showed that Typhoon, so I wouldn't do that again. So now this thing, the two main directories here that are relevant are three directories. Notebooks is where the Jupyter notebooks are. You should always start with notebooks. The notebook is backed by a library that I wrote called SVLearn. Large sections of code for which you may not be ready yet, I have put into SVLearn. This is the usual idea. People put Python code into libraries. Right? So I will not go here. I'll go to the notebooks first. So the notebooks, there are so many directories of notebooks. Let me give you a tour of that. Altair is about, as you remember, it's a UI data visualization framework. What does it help you do? It creates you basic charts and plots and so forth quickly. In a few lines, it helps you make interactive charts and plots. So that was the Altair library. The AutoML was about automated machine learning. For example, in PyTorch, how would you do? It will load in a moment. Is it empty? Why is it empty? Okay, something fishy here. So AutoSKLearn, there's something here going on.
Did we unzip the file here, Bamaro?
You have to unzip it, yes. You have to upload an unzipped directory version of it. Okay, so here is the AutoSKLearn, right? Then you have auto. So automated machine learning is here. Data sets. This is the CFAR example based on the famous CFAR dataset. We talked about that. Kate, you remember that? Since you asked for the tour of the directory, so I'm giving it here. This is the CFAR directory. There's a CFAR class and playing with the CFAR class. This is the first place where you write a neural network by going and looking at the code. Then this is for creating widgets. NLP, this is the readability and keyword extraction. And pre-trained is where you'll find the, it is still loading. The first one that you should start with, the ImageNet, you know, the AlexNet and the duck and the cow, the duck and the dog example. So this is it. This is the directory structure. Notebooks are where you go and play with the notebooks. And then if you want to see the libraries, understand the libraries, you go into the SVLearn. The only libraries that you should try to learn is NLP, transfer, and the data sets. Go into the libraries, not yet. Go into libraries once you are much more familiar with PyTorch and deep learning. I would say that at this moment, avoid the library package, Kate. Right? Once you become much more familiar with stuff, then we can go into the library. Then there is the text directory, which just contains 5 texts. Let's go to this text. Tale of Two Cities. Here it is. Is there anything else you want me to explain, Kate, or this is it? Anybody? All right, so
This helps.
yeah, all of you guys are quiet. If you guys, does anybody else need help?
No, Asif, I think I figured out what the issue was. I had gone up one directory that takes you to a complete, I think it's like a machine there, right? I was seeing some bin and so on. I couldn't understand what that was. But
Yeah,
that's
it's a full Ubuntu instance, yes.
Yeah. Okay, now I get it.
You get it, right? Wonderful. All right, guys. So, and Harini, are you able to make progress?
So it's actually loading, so no problem. I will try, and if there's any issue, I will get back. No problem.
All right, guys. So I will stop now, and I wish you all a pleasant evening.
Thank you.